not necessarily refreshed, but I feel like I do. Like it's a little easier, I think, mentally, emotionally, I think physically, preparing for these games rather than going like game practice. Like it was really difficult, and I think maybe in that stretch we didn't realize quite how hard it was because you're getting so caught up in the preparation. But now that obviously I have a little bit more time in between games, I think the preparation part has been a little bit easier for myself.
What's been the biggest focus for you guys to kind of improve on the defensive end of the floor? I know that's a big focus, just Christie and Lynn, like that's always something that they've been working on.
I think it honestly starts with our communication, and like defense is something you have to want to do, and I think at times we can be a little bit lazy. I think our offense at times can affect how we play defense. I think we even saw that in the Mystics game when the Mystics went on their run. Like our defense really kind of faltered there. So, and I think communication. I think we don't always communicate with one another. Like, not everything's going to be perfect on defense. It's just how you respond and work well with one another. And that's kind of what the coaches preached, even after that game. But I think that's kind of been the story for us over the course of the entire year.
If it's something like communication, obviously, I'm sure it takes time, given that the players are all getting used to each other for the most part. So do you give yourself a little bit of grace in that sense, but also know you still have to?
I think there is a little grace, but I think communication is such a controllable thing that you can control. Like that's something you can always do, and I think at times we let ourselves think we're tired, so we don't talk as much on the defensive end. But I think that would solve a lot of the problems that we have had on defense. So I think it can be better.
Yeah, how big was the whole week of having downtime and not having game, travel game, whatever?
It was really, really nice. It felt kind of weird in a way. It felt like, I don't know, like I got so used to playing game, practice, and now it seems like a little bit more like a normal basketball schedule. And then even though we played these last two on the road, it's just been a little bit easier on our bodies to travel and prepare for them. And like I said, at practice, we've been able to go live, and previously it was kind of just like a shoot around, like a walkthrough where we're not really doing much because we got to rest our legs and you can't be on your feet much, and there's not really many opportunities to work on what we need to get better at, and we've had about 3 or 4 of those over the course of just last week, which has been more than the first 3 weeks of the season. So a huge benefit for us as a really young team.
When I saw New York, you said you were excited to maybe see the pool in your new apartment.
I still haven't, because my one off day, the weather was so bad. I was so upset. But hey, tomorrow I think it's supposed to be nice in Indy, so we'll have to go.
Did you watch the Sparks Aces game last night?
I did. Yeah, Kate was amazing. Yeah, I was happy for her. Got her first start. I watched all of it basically, so she's playing great right now. But it's not surprising. I know what she's capable of. She's really good at knowing her role and doing her role really well 100% of the time. She's one of those players that she's not going to do anything that she knows she can't, and then she's not going to sell herself short either. She's just going to do what she does and do it really well, and that's exactly what she's bringing to them.
When you guys had time, I know you've watched film after every game probably, but there's things that you saw, hey, now I can try to fix some laps, so to speak, instead of trying to do it for a while.
Yeah, I think I've gotten a lot better on the ball screen stuff. The blitzing of the ball screens wasn't always something I've really got in college. Sure, there were some traps, there was a lot of long shows and stuff, but the full-on blitzes to, make me get rid of the ball wasn't always something I really saw in college. So, obviously I played my first game here, and, it was kind of a tough adjustment for myself, but I think I've had practice of 10 plus games now seeing the same exact defense, and that's one of the things we worked on a lot over the course of the last week is reads out of the ball screen blitzes, because we're getting blitzed so much, me personally obviously. So I think that's also gotten a lot better. I think our posts are making better reads and being more aggressive out of it, and at the end of the day you just got to make shots to get them out of it and to stop doing it.
Is there a different feel tonight than the last couple of years? Is it you probably weren't really nervous, but you knew there was a lot of tension in that first game.
For sure.
Now it's
I feel like you're trying to getting into the flow a little bit. I think it's your first game. There's so much going on. There's so much noise. There's so much you're trying to balance. So I feel like I've kind of settled in a little bit, but also at the same time, I know how good this team is and how you have to prep for them, and what they can really do to you on the defensive end. But also, they've killed us on. We fouled them a ton last time we played them at home, and they're really good in transition offense. So those are 2 huge keys to this game. But also, we find a lot of confidence, and when we played them at home, we were up 4 with 4 minutes to play. So we can definitely play with them, we can definitely beat them, but we know how good they are, and you can't, do the things that are going to cost you.
Last one I got for you. I know you don't go on social media. You turn TV, everywhere you look, people are talking about you. It's nothing you've done, and how you sort of block that out. You've done nothing wrong, so to speak, but everyone's talking about you and what you should be doing. And
It's crazy. It's like there's always going to be a story no matter what I do, and that's just something I've tried to have to balance, and it is what it is at this point. There's nothing I can do to control that. It's just continue to go about my business in the way that I have, and that's what comes with playing at the highest level. And when you have all these eyeballs on you and all this attention and whatever, that's what's going to happen. That's what happens to the best players in the world, no matter what sport they play, or a pop star, or whoever it is. It doesn't really matter. When you have this many people watching, they're going to want to talk about certain things, and at the same time, that's great for our game. But at the same time, like, I'm trying to balance so much. I'm 22 years old. I'm new to this league. I've only played 12 games, and then I'm also trying to be my best on the court. So it's a lot to balance. But I think I've done a pretty good job of it, of just blocking out the noise and doing what I can to focus on basketball. But yeah, it's tough. Like, I go on my iPad to read the news to catch up on current events, and like, it's one of the first things I see on the news site. So it is what it is. But I still, like, I don't view it as a negative thing. Like, I'm very fortunate, and I know a lot of people would want to be in this position, and just trying to make the most of it, honestly.
I went back to Doug's earlier question. Your career here started 4 weeks ago in this building. What have you learned about yourself in your first month of being a professional?
Yeah, I think like the pro game is obviously really different. So I think it's just been trying to improve from game to game with what we're trying to do, and obviously we're a very young group. I feel like I've gotten a lot better, and some of the defensive schemes that we do completely different than what I did in college. Like, that's just a breaking habits kind of thing. And even on offense, a lot of the stuff we do is not always something I saw in college or did in college, whether it's getting blitz on ball screens, whether it's the way you cut and move on the floor, or the way we space the floor. Like, I just have certain habits that were different than a lot of people on our team, or that I have to break. And I think I've gotten better at that over the course of 12 games. I think practicing over this last week has certainly helped. But yeah, I mean, I think I've learned that there's a lot of things I've done well. There's a lot of things that I can improve on still, and I think that's what's exciting for myself too.
And I know a lot of college players, when they come into the league, they struggle with that balance of moving on from a loss or moving on from a win. It's a little different than in college, where you might win a lot in college, maybe not so much the W. How have you found that balance?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a change. Like, I only lost however many games in my college career. Like, we were always really talented and a great group, but there was definitely moments in my college career where we lost some games where we shouldn't have lost. And I think every competitor goes through that, no matter what stage of their career they're at. So I think it's definitely different at the professional level. You really have to be able to move on to the next really quickly. I think at times that can be a benefit, but at the same time it can be kind of hard. So I think that's been an adjustment and something I'm still working through and getting better at. You just gotta wipe the last game and move on to the next. And I think I've been trying to view it more so as a positive. If the night before didn't go amazing, well, great. Now you get to come back 2 nights later and have another chance to do it better and work on things that you need to get better at, but also help your team win.
If you could think back to last year, like, what do you remember being your biggest overall adjustment just coming into the pros?
I would say patience with just giving myself grace. I feel like that was the hardest thing, because you come in with expectations for yourself, for the team, and when that doesn't happen exactly, it kind of just makes you want to get it now, but just being patient with myself.
Was it about patience with like your own individual performance, just like the whole process?
I think the whole process. Yeah. I think the whole process. I mean, it's definitely an adjustment. Things don't just happen for you perfectly in game one, and so just being able to understand that.
Have you felt that there was like a moment where that started to really like sink in for you? That you really felt like, okay, like I'm giving myself more grace, I'm doing that like the way I should be?
Yeah, no, it really, it's hard for me because I just want success, and I'm just like, I want it really badly, and so it's just like, okay, I'm trying to understand that I need to give myself grace, but I don't really know if I really am.
But that's what makes like the best athletes who they are, right?
No, I agree. I think it's just that competitive nature in us.
How big was this week for you guys to get some rest, get some practice, fix some things that weren't working in real time, as opposed to like, okay, we have a walkthrough and let's try to fix things?
Yeah, no, this week has been great because we actually got to work, worked on stuff that we thought we needed to improve on, just get a little rest. I think that's the biggest thing, because we were going nonstop, and so to be able to have that rest was great for us, and so I think we're feeling good going into tonight.
One of the things, are you good?
No, go ahead.
That when we were talking with Caitlin, she said communication's been like the big focus in terms of improving on the defensive end. So how have you seen that like as something you guys can work on or try and work?
Yeah, I mean, we just have to be able to do it. We just have to be able to do it. I think, when you're in game, sometimes you're so focused on what's happening that the words don't really come out your mouth, and I think that happens to us, and I think it's happened. We've been able to look at film and see, hey, we missed communication here. If we just talked about that a little bit earlier, and so hopefully tonight, that's definitely one of our goals. We looked at it after Washington, and so just make sure that we're talking. Over communication, I think, is just better than less, and so we're going to try for that tonight.
Is there anything else with facing like a team? I mean, faced the Sun before. Obviously, they're a veteran team. What are some of the focuses for this matchup?
Yeah, just making sure that we have help side because they're veterans. They're smart. They know how to read the game, make certain cuts, and so just making sure that we're communicating. We're there for our teammates, and we have each other's backs, and then we're just going to go out there and compete.
One of the things they really stressed was that it's for you guys, it's about communication and making sure that's happening. How have you seen them improve in that area throughout the season? Where is the growth still needed?
Yeah, it's constant growth. I mean, we're working on that every day. We talk about it every day. We've had everybody around the gym stop talking and just the 5 that are on the court so we can hear who's talking. Just trying to find ways to get them to start communicating with each other. I mean, you can't play defense if you don't talk.
So everyone has to, like when you're talking about everyone has to just quiet,
yeah,
and then you're basically making sure everyone's talking. Is that something you've been doing for a while, or is it
just hit or miss? I mean, it's something we've done in the past, but just really trying to focus on that right now.
How big was this past week for you guys when you talked to New York how you played 12 games in 20 days, whatever it was? You actually had time to rest, recover, and practice.
Yeah.
How big was that for this?
The rest was the rest was the biggest part. I mean, I think you saw that in our Washington game with the way we shot the ball. We just had legs under us, and the ball went in the hole for us.
What do you think will help you guys moving forward? What did you work on in the lab, so to speak, to get you ready for? Was it just defense, or things offensive too? Caitlin said the ball screens is important thing to work on, getting blitzed by other teams.
Yeah.
Things you guys worked on?
Yeah, a little of both. We put them at the free throw line 30 times the last time we played them at home, and it was a really close game. We turned the ball over the first time we were here 25 times. So we just kind of talked about all those things. We hadn't seen them in a really long time. We've gotten better. So we just wanted to show them where we had gotten better in those areas where we weren't very good against them the first time, second time we played.
Well, Caitlin was kind of reflecting on how this is where she started her career, and now, not even a month later, you guys are obviously facing the same team on the same floor again. So when you think about, I guess, kind of to your point, the whole team has grown since then. Obviously, still has a long way to go, but what are the areas where you feel like you've grown the most since being here?
Yeah, probably the first game here, probably the defensive end. Just finding ways to get on the same page. Communication is that's a huge piece. But just when you're in X-out situations and just kind of knowing where your teammates are going to be and the talking and can get out to shooters. That's been a real problem for us is getting out to shooters. People have a high shooting percentage on us from 3. But offensively, from the first time we were here, we were here and Kelsey Mitchell came in and played, right? She hadn't had a practice with us. So just the chemistry that we got just playing, and then these last few days that we've been able to practice is just really helpful.
You break up the season, go, okay, the first part was the mess of stuff. Now we're in a sort of a new season in a sense, having a more regular schedule than every other day, playing games in different cities.
Yeah, 100%. Like that first one was just to figure out how to get whatever we could out of it. Knew it was going to be tough. But then the second segment of that is from now to the Olympic break. So that's kind of what we're focused on now.
Connecticut's the top team defensively. You guys seem to do a pretty good job in Indy against them. But what's the key to overcoming, I guess, what they do defensively?
Yeah, just handle their physicality. I mean, they're tough. I mean, they're going to bump us all around. They're going to make every cut hard. They're going to try to blow up all of our handoffs. They're going to try to top lock us on all of any pin downs or staggers. So just understanding, not trying to fight the pressure, just do what you need to do to go against that pressure.
Is pace an important aspect in that? They're last in pace. They seemingly would want to get you in the half court a lot.
Oh, for sure. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push the ball and play fast, but make really good decisions, take the best shot available for our team. I think we did a really good job of that at home. We really had some good transition, but we got stops against them, and that's really what helped us.
Coach, I know you mentioned the other day, yesterday, about the Monsters Unleashed for Caitlin for not making Olympic team. You had a bunch of players that were in the pool that didn't make it. Are there 5 Monsters that are going to be unleashed now, or is it everyone sort of can use that as fuel to get better and as the team get better?
Yeah, I think, all the guys that were in that pool had great experiences with USA Basketball. They're young. I mean, they have bright futures with USA Basketball. That's exciting for us. I think I loved, Caitlin is going to put herself in a position when the opportunity presents itself again, just to be ready. So, she makes that 12-man roster, and that's what I love about her. I mean, she's a worker, she's a fighter, she's a competitor. Same with, Aliyah Boston. I mean, Aliyah Boston had great camps. She's an up and coming, one of the best posts in our game. She's got a great future with USA Basketball as well.
Aliyah, I was asking her as a rookie, what was the hardest thing for her, and she said it was just giving herself grace. And I'm like, okay, well, are you better in that aspect? And she said, no, I still like hold myself to such high standards. How do you work with her to, both help make sure she's giving herself grace, but knowing that she still wants to be the best and wants to hold herself to that high standard? Yeah,
I've got to get her to stop beating herself up so much. That's like, she is so hard on herself. She's a perfectionist in everything she does. She wants to be perfect. And, if that doesn't go her, if something doesn't go her way, it really takes her, she has to have bounce back mentality, like next play mentality. And that's what we talk a lot about.